CFO and VP of Defense Company, a Southern California-based construction contractor for over 15 years. She began her journey by accident when she was asked to step in to cover for a few months to help with some administrative duties. She then found the company was in need of systems that would not only help increase sales revenues, but also help the overall health of the company. And she decided to stay on board full time. That is a woman after my own heart. Over the years, she helped implement systems to improve sales procurement and help the company get certified as a small business, minority-owned, and disadvantaged business enterprise. Through certifications and marketing strategies, the company pivoted into government contracts in 2014. I am so excited about talking about this topic, Susan. You have no idea.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for this opportunity to be on your show today. I think Informed CEO is an amazing, it's just an amazing platform for companies like ours. And so I'm super excited to be here. So thank you so much, Kelly.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So let's start off with how did you end up in this, where you are, working for a contractor and then create your own business, EZ Biz, that it helps other small businesses get government contracts?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just like you mentioned, I've been in construction for over 15 years now. And unfortunately, we saw this big, huge change in 2008 when the housing market crash occurred. As we all know, 2008 for construction, just like for everybody, it was a really difficult place to be in because our work at that time had really slowed down. It was really impacted. And so at that time, we decided to start looking into government work. We started registering with different agencies. We started getting invitations to bid on projects. And so we really saw a big opportunity. And so it took us a few years to get to the point that we decided to completely turn off our residential customers, but we knew that it was a good opportunity for us. And so with that happening, we saw that there was a lot of space for improvement in terms of we really didn't know how to get into government work, what to do next, how to invoice. I mean, really simple tasks that nobody was sharing with us. And through that, it took a lot of time. I wish there would have been a program like this back then to help us. And even for us, over the years, we had people approach us and say, how did you do it? How do I get into government work? And so I thought it was a great opportunity. I started putting together guides, cheat sheets for people that I knew who were also in construction in different trades. And I started sharing my information on, okay, you're going to do this next and you're going to do that next. And so with that, that's where this whole platform came about. And it's been great.
Wonderful. And this will apply to people in non-construction trades as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So there's top industries right now that the government is doing work with. Absolutely. For me, one of my main focuses is construction because I'm so familiar with it. But top fields that the government is contracting with, is IT and communications, goods and services, tech assistance, medical and healthcare, especially right now because of the pandemic, emergency services, to meals, to anything you can really think about. The government has literally a list of thousands of codes that apply for everything, consulting, specific type of consulting that they procure contracts for. There's a funny little story. City of LA, they have the LA Zoo, and something that they purchase that they need contractors for is somebody who raises snakes because the snakes have to be fed to the alligators. So it's kind of something quirky that you would never think, wow. I mean, obviously, if you were in something like that, you would have an opportunity. But there's just thousands and thousands of codes out there that for specific trades, services, and goods.
Wonderful. That's so interesting. So we know a little about your story and how you do that. How would somebody start? Because it is a process, right? It's not something where you just decide, you wake up one morning and you know, I'm going to apply for this. You do have to get some groundwork laid. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Kelly. And the fact that you mentioned that is so funny, because I remember this one specific time where we were so gung-ho in the beginning. We wanted to just get in there and start getting these contracts. We showed up to a bid walk, and they kicked us off the site. They said, you're not even registered. Your name's not on the list to even be here. And so even though that opportunity was made to the public, there were times when we would get kicked off simply because we didn't know and understand the process in the beginning. And so the simple answer for anybody who wants to do government work with the government is, the first thing you want to do is you want to get certified. And that is either as a small business, which is super simple. You can do that right now if you have, you know, specific things in order, like if you have, depending on what the organization of your company is, if you're an LLC or if you're a corporation, you would go to the sba.gov website and you can register as a small business. If you don't want to go too big yet, if you don't want to register as a small business yet with the SBA, you could actually start locally, which would be within your state or even sometimes within your county. A lot of counties have the opportunity for you to just log on and be able to put in simple information regarding the structure of your business. You would need to know what your income for your business has been within the last maybe 2 to 3 years. And there's even exceptions. If you don't have that yet, you can just submit a document saying that, you know, my business is new, and still be able to get certified. So definitely getting certified. You can do small business, women-owned business, which women-owned businesses is there's so much potential for women in business right now, especially if you get certified as a women-owned business. There's what we call set-asides. So what happens is, the reason it's so important to get certified is because when these contracts are being put out, there are specific set-asides for these specific groups. So if you're registered as a small business or as a women-owned or minority-owned business, even a veteran-owned, there are specific contracts that are set aside just for you. And so what happens is, when you're when those contracts are set aside, you have a greater opportunity, because not a lot of people know about this. They don't know about these benefits that you'll get from actually going through the certification process. And so the best place to start is through your local county. You could probably even do it through your local city. Some cities do have some programs that you can certify through them, and even through your state. Here in the state of California, through the Department of DGS, and that's dgs.ca.gov. You can certify as a small business. And the process is really, it really doesn't take long. Usually the certification could take anywhere from instantly, if you have all your documentation ready, to maybe a few days for them to just review, and then you'll get that certification. So the simple answer is to get certified. And the next answer would be to get training, because once you want to understand what the process is of, once you get a contract, how to read the contracts, understanding all these different steps that are really going to be key for you not to only obtain it, but to be successful with the contract.
Perfect. That sounds great. And it sounds maybe time consuming, but not too complex, at least not at this stage.
Well, It is going to be time consuming, Kelly, because, there's a famous saying that we have within our construction firm, and that is, we're an overnight success. It only took us 15 years. Why did it take us 15 years? I'll go back to what I mentioned, is that I wish there would have been something, a program or a resource, that it would have just been a one-stop shop. And that really doesn't exist, except for EZ Biz. I mean, EZ Biz, we do offer that. You can get this information in different resources, but it's going to take you a longer time. And really, that's what we try to do, is we try to facilitate it so that it's an easier process, and so it doesn't take so long. So it's not so time consuming, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that would make a huge difference, especially if you're trying to, you want your revenue in this calendar year, this fiscal year. You don't want to have that process drag on forever and ever. And you definitely don't want, in my opinion, I would hate to be the one going down to the bid site and being kicked off because I didn't have the right information.
Yeah, and it's going to be more complex depending on what you're doing, depending on what good or service you're providing. I have seen individuals who, it's crazy. They'll get certified and then they meet all the qualifications. And so they'll be able to get a contract within, really quickly, literally within a month or two. So it's just really going to depend on where you're at and what is specifically what trade you're in, what good or service that you're offering.
So here's a question that we haven't discussed yet, which is, where do you go to find out about these contracts? Where, when we know that we want to do a government contract, we decide we're going to go get certified. Where do we look to figure out what contracts we might be eligible for?
Absolutely. So the best place to start, especially if you're just starting out, is definitely going to be with your local municipalities. That would be the best place for me to recommend to anybody who's just starting out in government work. And that would be anything from your local school districts to your local cities, to your local county, and then slowly moving up to your state. And then from there, going to your federal. Now, if you want to do some research on, well, I want to know what the federal government, what are they buying? Are they actually purchasing what I offer? There's a website that you can visit, and that's fedbizops.gov. And that is the government portal that has information on what they've purchased, who's sold them the product or good, or the service, and you'll get information on future opportunities. So that's a really good place to start. And I would definitely start for us here in California. I know the portal in California, they just redid it this last year. And so it could be a little bit hard to navigate, but that would definitely be a place that I would recommend you going. And it's I can't remember the name. It's za.gov. I'll put the website in the comments for you. I'm so sorry.
No worries. That's great. So we can look and see if the government purchases services like ours. We know that we can get certified, and then we can start working on our other things that we need to do for a particular contract, which, sorry, I'm not more articulate at how I'm explaining it. Have to get various certifications and fulfill various requirements depending on the types of contracts and things. And you recommend we start small with our local municipalities, and then we build towards bigger and bigger contracts over time. And yes. I love that idea, because that'll help a lot when you're just a small business or starting out. Probably you wouldn't be the top of mind consideration for $1 million business contract with the federal government in your first year of business. But if you've shown your track record then you could start. Yeah.
Exactly, Kelly. And that's really going to be key, because when you're submitting these documents in the process, there are going to be certain, you have to be, they got to be qualified. And so, like I said, it's going to take you time to build that experience, because oftentimes they are asking for experience. And so they're going to ask for references for maybe three to 5 years back. And so if you don't have experience with government contracts, that's okay. You can list your biggest projects. And so that's not gonna, or your biggest POs, whatever your category you fall under. But you are gonna definitely have to build within the first 6 months to a year to be able to just really stand out when you submit your documents, because they are looking at that and they will check your references. And so it's not just about putting in references that you want to make sure those are good references too, you know, because we all know there could be, you don't want to put in somebody that, you know, if there was an issue, or maybe that was a specific client, because there's a lot on the line there. And so there's just, it's good and advisable to slowly build, but it can be done. And I know you could do it within 6 months to a year. It can definitely be done.
What a wonderful potential revenue stream. I think that's great. So a couple of questions for you. Question number 1, where do we go if we want more information?
Yeah, absolutely, Kelly. So to answer that question, I would refer you over to my website, www.ezbizinc.com. And you'll be able to find any information regarding the programs that I offer there. And there's also information there on future workshops that I have, which we host a workshop every month on what you can do to start getting government projects ASAP.
Wonderful. So is there a cost for those monthly webinars?
No, those are absolutely free. They're introductory classes, and we go over steps that you can take to start getting government work.
That's wonderful. That is great. So we can go to one of these webinars and get additional information to start our journey. That is fabulous. I love it. Any last thoughts? Anything that we haven't covered that you want to make sure that that everybody is clear on about government contracts?
Absolutely, Kelly. Yeah, well, first I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity for having me on your show. I think I just want to say thank you. I feel very honored and blessed to have the opportunity. And as far as last words, I really do want to, I just want to make sure that the audience understands that there is so many opportunities within government contracts for women specifically. If you're a woman in construction, I mean, it's a great place to be, because there are not a lot of women in construction right now. IT, consulting, I mean, you name it, these opportunities are there. And it's a great place to be able to expand your business. And again, what we do is we offer a roadmap, because the process could be very confusing. You're going to come across information that you might not understand. There's going to be verbiage in the contracts that you'll need clarity on. And so what we do, we really specialize on offering a roadmap for you, offering you the training, so that way you're set up for success. And so thank you again. I'm happy to be able to share this information with your audience.
I love it. Thank you. And I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kelly.